Hi, and welcome to Bailey's Blueprint, the podcast that goes over various categories of creative writing and the specific distinctions in formatting and structure that place written pieces in certain categories. With that said, let's start sketching out our writing blueprints. So, hi, once again, and thanks for tuning in. You're listening to college kid creative writer and formatting fanatic, Bailey! Today, we're going to be talking about one of my top favorite forms of poetry, Sestinas. So Sestinas are a longish poem that have a strict word scheme and setup, traditionally consisting of 7 stanzas total. The first 6 stanzas consist of 6 lines each, and they're all basically uniformed in length, while the 7th and final stanza consists of only 3 lines, but those 3 lines are usually double the length of all the previous lines. It'll make a little bit more sense later. Fun fact, the 7th stanza is called an envoy, and Sestinas have about 39 lines total, so that's kind of cool, I think. Now, Sestinas are usually considered a challenge, but please don't be scared by the rigid structure or the long length. I promise it's well worth the prep work and extensive thought that goes into making a poem like this, as it allows for you to grapple with your topic in multiple ways, while still managing to build and unfold and expand upon the meanings that you want to convey within the work. With the structure and concept sketched out, next comes the tricky part, the word scheme. The word scheme, if you go to look it up, it's probably called the rhyme scheme, but your words don't have to rhyme. It's a sestina, it's fine, and basic, yes. So the word scheme is just 6 words that you get to choose. For the most part, people usually try to pick simple verbs and nouns, maybe words with double meaning, because then they're more versatile and they're easier to work with. But basically, if you can use it, any type of subject verb is free game. I would suggest avoid choosing article words like be, though, because just challenge yourself. Go ahead, pick an actual word. Makes it a little bit more fun, in my opinion. But the 6 words that you choose do not have to be connected at all. They can be completely random. Or, like most people pick, you can choose to pick words that align with your concept and your themes. And, it just adds another layer of depth to your poem. But truly, don't stress about this step too much. It's all part of the fun. And you can also just swap out a word later if you wanna. It's not like anyone will know that you did after you publish it. It's your work. It's supposed to be fun, not stressful. Keep in mind, the goal of the 6 chosen words is to use them to describe and or talk about the theme of your poem. It's a fun challenge to use your creativity to explore whatever themes you had in mind while writing around the chosen words. Anyways, the next step after picking out your 6 words is ordering them. Me personally, I love writing sestinas. They're one of my favorites, but I can't ever remember the order of how exactly the chosen words get shuffled around. Luckily, with a quick Google search, it's an easy enough thing to find a list of. There is even a fun little circle picture to help point out the method to the madness of how the words get ordered for each stanza. But, for those just listening to the audio, I figured I could say them for you and also show the picture for YouTube. But for the first stanza, you'll have your 6 words and they can be labeled as A, B, C, D, E, F. So those are the letters that represent the words that you're choosing, because I don't have words at the moment. But A, B, C, D, E, F. So for the first stanza, they're going to stick to that order going from A to F. The second stanza, you're going to start shuffling them around. And so then the word that corresponds to the letter F is going to be your first word. So from there, second stanza is going to be F, A, E, B, D, C. And that's the letters that represent the words that you're using for the second stanza, and that's their order. For the third stanza, the order gets changed again, and that order is C, F, D, A, B, E. For your fourth stanza, the order of the letters, and therefore your words, is going to be E, C, B, F, A, D. For your fifth stanza, it's going to be D, E, A, C, F, B, B, D. Oh, my bad. The fifth stanza ends on that first B. I've started reading the letters for the next one. My bad. But the sixth stanza is B, D, F, E, C, A. And so that's stanzas 1 through 6. Your seventh stanza gets a little tricky and you have a little bit more play with it as you only have 3 lines. Now, those 3 lines, so like, oh, where did I write it down? Let's go find that number. There it is. Okay. So those 3 lines, they usually go A, C, E. Okay, that's the first word in those 3 lines. The tricky part comes in, you're putting 2 words in that one line. Like the first line of the 7th stanza is going to have 2 words in it. So the 2 words that go into that one are A and usually B. I think it's A and B. And then for the second line of that stanza, it's C and D. And for the third line of that stanza, it's E and F. Now you can also reverse that order. So A, B, C, D, E, F. Or you can flip it, and then it's like F, E, D, C, B, A, I believe. The 7th stanza gets a little funny, and we can always play around with it. That's part of what makes it poetry fun. And you can always go look it up yourself and double check me, because by all means, Sestinas get a little complicated. That's why I kind of like them. But either way, once you have your words in order, you can start writing with them in mind. And there's so many different ways that you can have fun with Sestinas, especially once you know their standard blueprint. I would definitely recommend going online and looking up that list for yourselves. That way you can have it on hand whenever you go to do it. But yeah, all that matters is that you learn the basics first, and then, and only then, can you creatively bend and break your poem rules in true artistic fashion. But that's basically with any poem. And it's just fun. You try it out the way it's supposed to, and then you decide how you want to creatively do what you want, because it's poetry. We can do that. Also, when doing my research, I found out about a couple cool ones, Sestinas wise, and I figured I could share them here, because why not? Sestinas are fun like that. One that I really enjoyed was Let Me Count the Waves by Sandra Beasley. For example, like I said earlier, the words don't have to be connected. Her words, for example, were skirts, ducks, face, butt, home, poems. Those were her 6 words. And if you go and look up her poetry, you'll find that when she used different variations of butt, whether it was your butt or like, but hold on a second, you know? So fun words like that, where they can be, it's when you say it, it is 2 different words, but when you write it on the paper, the spelling is different, but it sounds the same. So words like that can also be used in your 6 chosen words to mix it up and make it a little bit more fun and creative and variations in your Sestina. She also took ducks and changed that to mallards for one of her lines at the end of her poem, which I think still counts. I don't know, it's a hit or a miss. That's one of those rules that she probably broke in poetry, but hey, it made for a cool poem, so we kind of let her do it, you know? Another really cool Sestina, just because of its renown, its length really, but is The Complaint of Lisa by Algernon Swinburne, I think is how you say his name. And that poem, that Sestina, is called a double Sestina, because it's 12 stanzas. And the stanzas are 12 lines each, which is double the stanzas themselves are doubled in line length, and then there's double the amount of stanzas, and I don't even want to count how many lines that is, because it's a double Sestina. Sestinas are already long. And then, on the flip side of that, there's a condensed version of a Sestina, and I believe it's called a Tretina, because Tretina, that's just fun, it's Tretina. But it's called a Tretina, because it consists of 3 stanzas. And those 3 stanzas are only 3 lines each, which makes the 4th stanza, the final stanza, only 1 line, which I just think it's cute that you can take all these different, the structure of a poem, and then you can rearrange it how you want. That's the fun of poetry. But the example that I was talking about for Tratina is actually The Living Room by Marie Ponsot, I believe is how I say her last name. And she's the lady credited with creating the Tratina type Sestina. So that's a little fun fact. Another really, really beautiful, beautiful poem that I saw was by Rach Jackson, I believe. And it's titled, stick with me now, A Sestina for a Black Girl Who Does Not Know How to Braid Hair. It was a really, really beautiful piece, and it's a really good example of line structure and sentence structure kind of conflicting and how you can play with the formatting on the page. But that's the main reason she's on this list of references for y'all to go look up later because they're fun. But the other reason was that she has 6 regular stanzas, and she just doesn't have a 7th. She doesn't have an envoy stanza. So that's just another example of how you can take the traditional way to write a stanza and change it up to fit how you're doing. Me personally, I like to write a stanza, and then I pair it with a prose piece. I just think it's fun. And by that point, I've already written like so much about it, it's still going in my head, and we might as well. So, again, I love stanzas. I'm a bit biased. They're one of my favorites. But either way, whatever and wherever you like to write, hopefully these episodes will clarify, introduce, and help you to find a new favorite type of writing to express yourself with. If listeners have questions, concerns, suggestions for future topics, then the podcast email is listed in the bio. Again, thanks for watching or listening into Bailey's Blueprints. I hope y'all enjoyed it, and I wish you all the best in writing out your own drafts. Bye!